Greetings, adventurers. Welcome back to our channel, where we delve into the enchanting world of Dungeons & Dragons. Today, we have a special treat for all you spellcasters out there. We're going to explore the fascinating sleep spell in D&D 5th edition. The sleep spell is a classic enchantment used by wizards, sorcerers, and other arcane spellcasters to send creatures into a deep slumber. It's a first-level spell that can be a game-changer in certain situations. Let's dive into the details, shall we? First, the casting time of sleep is just one action. That means you can quickly cast it during combat without losing too much of your precious turn. Efficiency is key, my friends. Next, let's talk about the components required to cast sleep. It's a somatic and verbal spell, meaning you need to gesture and speak the magical incantation. So, make sure you have the freedom to move and speak when you're casting this spell. The range of this spell is 90 feet. Now, let's get into the tactical uses of sleep. This spell can be a real game changer in certain situations, especially when you're facing multiple enemies. Imagine you and your party stumbling upon a group of hostile goblins. They're outnumbering you, and things are looking grim. That's where sleep comes in handy. When you cast sleep, you roll a pool of 5d8 to determine how many hit points of creatures the spell can affect. The total is the combined hit points of the creatures that will fall into a deep slumber, one by one. When you cast this spell using a spell slot of 2nd level or higher, roll an additional 2d8 for each slot level above 1 street. Now, here's the interesting part. You start with the creature with the lowest hit points and work your way up until the total number of hit points rolled is expended. So, it's like counting sheep, except these sheep are goblins. Sleep is incredibly useful against low-level creatures with relatively low hit points. It can incapacitate them, granting you and your party a temporary advantage in combat. However, it's important to note that sleep won't work against creatures that are immune to being charmed or put to sleep magically, such as undead. So, keep an eye out for creatures with such resistances. Before we wrap up, let's touch on a couple of additional tips and strategies to make the most of the sleep spell. One tactic to consider is using sleep strategically to neutralize the more dangerous foes in a group. If you have a mix of low and high hit point enemies, you can focus the spell on the stronger ones, temporarily removing them from the fight while your party deals with the weaker ones. Another thing to keep in mind is that sleep affects creatures based on their current hit points, not their maximum hit points. So, even if a creature has a massive pool of hit points, if they are significantly wounded, they can still succumb to the spell. However, be cautious when casting sleep around your allies. The spell affects creatures within a certain range, regardless of their allegiance. So, make sure your party members are positioned safely away from the area of effect. Lastly, remember that sleep has a duration of up to 1 minute or until the sleeper takes damage or is awakened. So, be sure to communicate with your teammates, letting them know not to accidentally wake the slumbering creatures until you're ready to strike. And there you have it, adventurers. The sleep spell in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. A versatile tool for crowd control, strategic incapacitation, and turning the tide of battle. Just remember its limitations and use it wisely. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay tuned for more spell breakdowns, character builds, and epic adventures in the world of D&D. Until next time, may your rolls be natural 20s. Happy gaming!